welcome back to Evie Unbounded, where we talk to women who are building a bold life and even bolder business. Today's guest is someone who turns something playful, socks, into a fashion-forward brand seen on Shark Tank and wore by many women who refuse to dress quietly. So the person who's on the show today is Mary. So I met Mary for my audience at our mutual girlfriend Lisa's get together, women empower things. That it was amazing. I get to meet a lot of female founder, and Mary was one of them. And surprisingly, when I met Mary, I noticed what she was wearing, and that she was just really cool, very colorful, and just really fun. I guess that's the word for me. Is when I saw you, I was like, this. She seemed like a very fun girl. I need to get to know her, not knowing that's what you do. So, how you got into socks business? Because when you talk about socks, I think unless you know what? I do have your socks. I wish I brought it with me.
I think, yeah, because at the
Mary's
event,
socks is
there
very
were
colorful.
the
Yeah,
gift
because you would give me
bags.
to us. Very
Yeah.
colorful, very playful. It's not what people typically think when they think about socks. So Mary, tell us what is sock candy is and how are you turning into socks into something so fun?
Yeah, so sock candy, it's all about celebrating your unconventional personal style, and we are known for our whimsical, sheer fashion socks. So there really isn't any brand in the United States doing this right now. So we are able to execute very fun, funky yet elegant patterns, but they're very, very detailed and very intricate on sheer fabric. And so it's really the idea of elevating this everyday piece that's often an afterthought and then turning it into a fashion accessory in a statement, like just like how you would wear earrings or a headband. We wanted to make socks also a fun fashion item for women to be able to express themselves. And it's a great piece to utilize because a lot of times, women that maybe have more corporate jobs and they might have a dress code in the office, they maybe can't wear such crazy things like a full on outfit, but you can have a little bit of fun with sock candy. And that's really how the idea was born. I have always loved styling socks with my sandals and heels. It was just something that I always gravitated towards, but I just found that there wasn't very fashion forward socks on the market. I always felt like my entire outfit was so cute, and then my socks were just kind of like so. And so I just felt like there was a gap in the marketplace, and that's
Yeah.
why I started sock candy, because there wasn't socks for fashion girls that I felt was elevated and chic and were designed specifically to be worn with like sandals and heels, dressed up or dressed down. And yeah,
You're
that's how I
right,
started.
because the socks that I got from you, they're super cute. They're a different pattern, and it's not just the pattern itself; it's also the material. You're right. It was like sheer and knit cotton. It was like mix of two different material, and it's true because when you I don't know if it's still true nowadays, but if you have a corporate job, most of the time you have to dress conservatively, right? So
Exactly.
it's kind of hard to express your artsy side or the fun part.
Yeah.
And I think socks is almost like, it's kind of like in the closet, like
It's
nobody
kind of
know.
like a little
Right? Do you know what
secret,
I mean?
like
Yeah, it's like
you could
my
wear
little
them.
secret.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
can wear them with slacks and loafers and they're just peeking out. Like maybe like when you sit and you cross your legs, they peek out a little, but it's not like in your face, which I think for, many women that might have a dress code at work, it's, exactly. But then like when they look down at their feet, they feel happy. It brings some joy.
I had to take some picture later and post it for people to see it, how cute your socks is. Were you in the fashion industry before this? Like, how you got to that? Like, and start making them?
Yeah, so I have a marketing background, and so I went to business school for marketing, and I've always wanted to work in fashion, but the long story short is I've always wanted to work in fashion. I could never get a job in fashion. So I would apply to like all these fashion jobs and just never heard back, probably because there was nothing on my resume that indicated that I could work in fashion. So I actually quit my advertising job at the time, and I started a fashion blog. This was way before Sock Candy. I would say this was about 5 years before I launched Sock Candy. I decided that my only way to work in fashion was to start my own fashion blog because no companies, would hire me to work in fashion. And this was not early on in the blogging, but it was pretty still like it was somewhat like the Wild Wild West with influencers. We still had physical blogs like maryguay.com, or like my blog's name was Layers of Chic. But people
Oh,
still
Layer
went to
Chic. That's
actual,
such a
yeah,
cute
people
name.
still went to actual blogs to read them. And then along with that, I also, started an Instagram account. And again, it was a lot less saturated back then than now. Now I feel like everyone is a creator and everyone has an Instagram account that they utilize to be an influencer. And now I just started sharing my outfits, my daily outfits, and I built a following, and I actually started working with brands. In the beginning, it was just gifting, and then it turned into paid collaborations. And I basically did that for about 4 or 5 years. And during this time, I would always post outfits with socks. Like it became a style.
Wait. Is that how you get
Yeah,
your name chronologically? What was that? Overdressed or something like that? I see
chronically
that.
overdressed. Yeah, people would always say that that my style is very maximalist, and I would always post outfit photos with socks because, like I said, I like to utilize socks. And my followers would comment like, "Oh my god, like this is so unique to you. Like, oh wow, I never would have thought of doing that." So I kind of became known as like the sock girl, and that also contributed to when I launched Sock Candy. It also sort of gave me the idea a little bit, because all my
Well, I
followers would
can
always
see. I
comment.
mean,
Yeah.
your outfit like definitely is like mixed with print and mixed together. Definitely not understatement, right? If you wanted to say. So do you think that your style is a way for you to express your personality, or how you get the idea to be whimsical and so on?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, a form of self-expression. Ever since I was like 10, my favorite thing to do every day was to get up and get dressed and figure out what I was going to wear that day. So it's always been a very, very innate part of me. I have just always loved clothing, and it's just been the thing I look forward to the most every single day. Even if I
Oh,
was having a bad day, this was the thing that would cheer me up, was to put on a cute outfit. Um, yeah, so I think it's innate. And I take a lot of inspiration from many different things. Obviously now there's social media, there's Pinterest, there's I love vintage fashion as well, so I'm very much
oh.
inspired by vintage pieces, vintage shopping. And every day is a little bit different. I kind of dress my mood. I just kind of follow what I feel like will look cute, and I just wear it.
Don't you think that a lot of times as a women, we almost feel like the society have this expectation how you're supposed to dress, or is it too much your attention? Where it just like fit the corporate world. Uh, do you ever feel that way when you that you had to hide the style while you were working in the marketing and so on?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny you say that because when I worked in corporate advertising, I actually I distinctly remember this guy in this, like, the head of finance sat on our floor. And so like his desk was like pretty close to my desk, like we all kind of sat together. And I remember him always commenting on my outfits and saying that, like, your outfits are too loud. He would always say, like, your outfits are too loud. I was not breaking any dress codes, to be clear. I mean, I worked in advertising, so it was really like pretty casual to begin with. I never broke any dress codes, but it was just the way I put pieces together. And he would always say, "Oh my God, like your outfits are too loud." And that always stuck with me because for me, it's like, I'm not breaking any dress codes. I'm not, you know, showing any inappropriate amount of skin or anything like that. I'm just choosing to maybe wear pink instead of black. Or I'm maybe choosing to wear a floral print instead of a solid print. And so yeah, that's definitely something that I have experienced. But, to be honest, I never let it stop me because for me, as long as it didn't affect my performance at work, like who cares? So that's just always been my approach is I'm doing a good job at work, and so I should be able to dress the way I want as long as I'm not breaking any dress codes, and I was not breaking any dress codes.
And that is so courageous of you because, like, when you work in a corporate world as a woman and as a minority, I always, at least for me, I always feel like what people have this certain expectation of how you're supposed to look or how you're supposed to act. And I love your socks. The reason is like it's almost like a little secret, you know. Like
Mhm.
I think it's fun.
Yeah.
It shows the girly side of a lot of us that I feel we haven't get the chance to let it out and play because we're afraid the comment from other or the expectation of other. So your design, it definitely was I for me, it's definitely like expression of our inner child. It's so fun,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
girly, and it just makes people happy. At least it make me happy. Like I said, like it's almost like you have something underneath it, and only and then you and your friend can show each other,
Mhm.
like, look at
Yeah.
my collection. Yeah, it's just really cute. Yeah, and I think
Thank
that's
you.
really brave that that never stop you from really express your true style of what you like. And you're right, you didn't violate any rule, and
Exactly.
it's just more your sense of expression of, you know, your creativity. And was it scary for you from a corporate job to just start this, you know, socks empire by yourself? And that's a take a leap of faith because it's completely different, right? Because now you don't have a stable income. So what make you push you to decide to start your own?
Yeah, so I think that so I went from my corporate job, I quit my corporate job to start the fashion blogging. So that it was like a sort of a good transition, I guess. And for me, I worked in advertising, so it was like it's very easy to get a new job in advertising. Like I would go from ad agency to ad agency. So I basically said I'm going to quit my job for a year. I'm going to quit my job for a year, see if this fashion blogging thing takes off and I can if I can make any money from it. If I don't in a year, I'll just go back to advertising. And because of the industry that I worked in at ad agencies, like it was very normal for you to go from one ad agency to another anyways. So I wasn't worried about and I was pretty established already in my career at that time. So I wasn't worried that I wouldn't be able to get another job in advertising if I had to. So I just gave myself a year. So in that sense, it wasn't like super, super scary because I knew that like, okay, in a year, if this doesn't do anything, I'll just go back to advertising. So that was like kind of the timeline I gave myself and the like the crux that I used to push myself forward. Obviously I had no idea if it was gonna go anywhere or anything like that. But I had worked in advertising for 5+ years. I had a steady income and I had saved up enough money where I could do this for a year, and if it didn't work out, just go back to advertising.
You know, Mary, just by talking
Yeah.
to you in the last like 5, 6 minutes, I can only tell like you're so courageous because you just
Thank
go
you. I don't
like, "This is what I like. I don't care. I'm not violating law. Well, I give myself a year. You know, if it
Yeah.
doesn't work, I can just go back to corporate job." Like, but there's so many people always, what if? What if it doesn't work out?
Mhm.
Or whatever it is, right? What was that? Or is it something that you always do like that? Like what made you just take the step and just go for it?
I haven't always been like that, and I think that at the point when I quit my job, I was at my limit. So like I said, I have loved fashion from a very, very young age, but I grew up in a very traditional Chinese household, so I was never given the option to pursue fashion as a career. Like I didn't that wasn't even like within my vicinity of what I was taught. Like there was
I
no
was
way in
gonna
my
say,
mind
yeah.
that I could have gone to fashion school, which is what I wanted to do. So at the age of 18, my ideal would have been I want to go to FIT or Parsons. That was
Yeah.
never an option because of my traditional Asian upbringing. I was always taught I had to do finance, be a lawyer, be a doctor, or work in business,
Yeah.
right? So I chose business. And so by the time I was 20, I quit my job and like when I was like 26, 27, I had already put my dreams on hold for 10 years from ever since I was a teenager. up until so it took me a long time, actually, I think, in my mind, because at that time all my friends around me were already very established in their careers like I was, and for me to just be like, I'm going to stop this and then go do something else was completely unheard of in my circle of friends that I went to college with. They all followed the very traditional path, and so it did take me a long time to be like, enough is enough. Like, I love fashion. This is what I've always wanted to do. And I'm not going to continue to put my dreams on hold any longer. But it took, I worked in advertising for 5+ years straight out of college. I got a job in advertising, like just straight off corporate. So I think that it took a little bit of time for me to become more confident with myself, for me to
Mhm.
realize this is what I want to do. And I'm not happy just slaving away at a job that I'm not happy about. But it wasn't overnight. And I feel like it actually took me quite a long time to finally take that leap.
And I think that's amazing. You actually not just taking the step, doing something that you really truly want as your dream, but you also let yourself stand out and shine without hiding. Because I mean, come on, you on reality show, Shark Tank, and what's it called? The big whatever the Bethany
Oh,
show.
the big shot with Bethany. Oh man.
Yeah, that was like, first
That
of
was
all, you don't
a
see that many
interesting
like
chapter.
women on it, that Asian women, so it's
Yeah.
like, wow, you really put yourself out there.
Yeah,
How
I
was
mean,
it? Yeah.
I think for me it was like my only choice.
Mm,
I think I saw it as either I'm going to put myself out there and have a chance to succeed, or I'm going to allow myself to be afraid and not put myself out there. And what does that mean? Like,
mm.
there's no, it would never be worth it to not to do that. And so for me, it was never like an option, because it's either put yourself out there and, go after your
Just do it.
dreams, or not. So like, I feel like when you look at it like that, it's like, yeah, of course you're going to put yourself out there.
Were you nervous? Were you scared on this reality show?
I was definitely more nervous on the Big Shot with Bethany, because
Then Shark Tank?
yes, because they don't prep you. Like, they don't know you. Like, you're not given any. First of all, like, that show that was the season one, so there wasn't
Yeah.
like you have no idea what it is, right? There's not like, it's not like you could watch the previous seasons and be like, oh, this is what they do. They didn't tell you anything. Like, we were told no information. We were just told to show up on night one and see what happens.
Wow.
Versus Shark Tank was like basically the complete opposite. I mean, first of all, it was season 16. You could watch every single episode before that. Like, everyone knows exactly the format. You know who the sharks are.
Yeah.
They prep you so much. You practice your pitch a million times before you go on. So by the time you actually go on, like, your pitch. So I think that was why I was actually less nervous, because you just get prepped so much. They kind of hold your hand throughout the whole process.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was, which with Shark Tank, were you nervous? Because now you're pitching your idea. Like, what if they don't like it? Obviously they do, but what if they don't like it and it's on TV? Did you have this thinking process going through your head?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my biggest fear was because, like, I had seen so many episodes,
Yeah.
and there's like the feel good episodes, right, where the sharks love, like, they only have positive things to say, and then there's like the episodes where, like, the sharks just don't
Terrible.
like it, and then all
Yeah.
of them don't like it, and they just say horrible things.
Yeah.
So yes, I was definitely, because that was the part I couldn't control. Like, I knew my pitch, like, I knew, but after that, right, that was the part that I was definitely nervous about. I was very scared that they were going to tell me that my business wasn't investable, because it was so founder led. Because so much of my business is based on my personal style and my face, and my own sort, like, I'm basically the face of the brand, and a lot of the designs and how it's styled is also based on me. I was very scared the Sharks was going to say, because of that, it's not investable, because of like the one man clause, right? Well, so what
Uh-huh.
happens if Mary's not part of the company? Like, that was too focused on me. Luckily, they didn't say that.
Mhm.
But that was definitely my most, like, what I was most nervous about. And then obviously, like, the questions. Um, the questions, again, you prep, right, because you watch every episode, they always ask the same questions. So as long as you practice your answers, I think that wasn't so nerve-wracking. But definitely, yeah, you never know like how they're gonna react to something.
I know, because that would
So
be
yeah.
like my biggest fear. You're right, because you have the feel good, there's the bad one, and you
Right,
just,
like which
you're
one are
right,
you gonna
but it's out
be?
of
Yeah,
control.
like
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's out of your
exactly.
control. So,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
I actually think you, at least for me, looking at it, I think you brought out the self expression that many women would wish and want to express. And then so I think in a way, the sock candy is not just socks. To me, it have more to just wearing your socks. It's literally as a way to express your creativity and who you
Yeah.
are and your personality, and it's fun. So I love it, and I'm so glad that you did not let fear to stop you to go forward your dream and create this company, which a lot of women love it. How do you see, what would you like sock candy go forward from here?
Honestly, for me, it's just I want as many women as possible to be able to wear the socks, and because the whole idea behind the company is to bring joy,
Yeah.
bring that joy of getting dressed, which I think a lot of women, maybe at one point had and then kind of lost, or maybe never experienced. And so the whole
Yeah.
idea is to bring joy. So my biggest goal is to reach as many people as possible and bring it into the hands of as many women as possible, and really help get over that barrier. I think both from like what you said, like from a confidence standpoint, like, oh, these socks aren't for me because they're sheer and like they seem like they're way too high fashion, or like they have too much color and too much print, and like I could never pull that off. That's something that we do, like women that like, see our Instagram, sometimes we get that comment like, oh my god, it looks so cool, but I could never pull that off. There's always that,
Mm,
like there's always that comment
the
of I
limited
could
belief.
I could
Yeah.
never pull that off. And my goal is, how do we address that? Like, where does that come from, first of all? Like, it's like
Mm.
it's a pair of socks. Technically, everyone can wear socks. Like, I think I understand if it's clothing, maybe, based on like, maybe it's your body type or the shape of the clothing. Maybe you might feel like, okay, like I don't look good in this color, or, this type of dress doesn't work for me. Like everyone has, feels, has certain things that they feel about clothing. But to me, it's like it's socks. Like everyone can wear socks. So why do you still feel that way? So I think that's my biggest goal, is to um be able to communicate that that's not the case, and that, you know, these are for you, and they're just a fun way to spice up your outfit, and everyone can wear them. Yeah, so I think for me, just continue to grow, continue to reach as many women as possible, continue to be in as many places as possible so that it's accessible to everyone, because we are, a D2C led brand. We don't have a physical store. So, getting into those large retailers so that it's easy for women to go shop and to see them in person. Obviously, shopping online is very different from seeing the stuff in person. So definitely want to, try to get it into as many physical locations as possible so that, everyone can access it and decide for themselves.
I really like what you just said, because, like I said, I think, how you wanted to create a socks where it brings joy. And I think a lot of time women was like, the comment, it was like, this is not for me. But you're right, socks is not, everybody can wear socks.
Right.
So
Yeah.
why us have this limited belief thinking that this is not for me, I can't wear too much pattern, this is too fashionable? It's all the limited belief that we tell ourselves, right? So
Hmm.
when you're going through this process and now having this successful sock company, during the process, do you have any limited belief that you have overcome and to get where you are today?
I mean, I think every day, like I think every day there's sort of, limited belief systems in my head. But I think, there's always this like sort of imposter syndrome. For a long time, I felt like I couldn't move the company out of my house because
Mm.
the company was in my house for the first 4.5 years. Because I just told
Now you got a
myself,
warehouse, right?
yes,
I
now
saw.
we finally
Congratulations.
moved into an office space last June. Yeah,
Wow,
so
this
half
last
a
few
year
years,
ago.
like, this big year for you, the last few years.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
last year was definitely, but it for a long time I told myself, we can't move out of the house because we have to hit a certain revenue goal, or because of this reason and because of that reason. And I'm the type of person, I wait until the very, very last minute to do any big decision. Like, we moved out of the house probably 6 months later than we should have. And same with hiring. Like, I always have been very, very cautious to hire. Like, it's always like, well, I can do everything. Like, I'm gonna wait until I'm absolutely dying, drowning before I hire someone. And that's like
Yeah.
stuff that I really had to overcome. Like, my first hire was like, oh my God, like, oh no. And then, it's like my second hire. And it's talking myself out of, I always talk myself out of it. I'll be like, well, no, like, I can take this on, or, well, like, I don't need two full-time people. But really, again, like, by the time I hire the second full-time person, that hire probably should have been done 6 months ago,
Mm.
to sort of avoid, some of the catastrophes that would arise because there just wasn't enough people, and not enough hours. So that's something that I've always constantly struggled with. And I'm an internal pessimist, I think, when it comes to the company and how it's doing. I always, you know, tell myself, oh, it's not doing well, or oh, like I could be better. And so I always struggle with that.
No, but thank you for sharing with that with us, because I think for a lot of entrepreneur, we have the constant struggle. Um,
Yeah.
because for you is you not that you wait till the last minute. I think you more conservative, but this other entrepreneur that I have interviewed with taught you they were going too fast. And then
Yeah.
when you're
Yeah.
going too fast, there's another principle. It's like sometimes you just have to build your foundation first. You need to
Yeah.
build a strong foundation before you can keep moving up. And then I think a lot of companies, small company also that don't make it was because their lack of foundation and it was going too fast. So I think that what you just said is also another good lesson for people who started their own, and to really think about like what all the limited belief is, and so on. So I know you're also married, and how
hmm
do you balance your lives as now you moved to in the office? And I think you got married not that long ago, right? Like in the last
We
few
got
years.
married in 2022.
Are we still in
Yeah.
COVID at that time?
Yes,
We are.
yeah, it was
We
it was
were.
still
Okay.
COVID-y. It was still COVID-y
Oh,
for sure.
okay.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay. So how you balance your personal life and your company, and and your social life, right? Because I even saw you
Yeah.
at our mutual friend Lisa's house, which is great on the weekend. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it was definitely a struggle in the beginning, and actually one of the reasons why I didn't hire for so long was because
Mhm.
my husband was the fallback. So
Mm.
like for the first few years, he would pack. He helped with a lot with fulfillment. So anytime it was too much for me, I would be like, "Honey, you need to pack these orders." So he
Oh.
was always like the fallback, basically. And I think that definitely was a struggle for both of us because work became so intertwined. Like, every day was about sock candy and all the orders we had to pack, and it was in the house. So like all of our product was in the house, like boxes would be everywhere. Like, you could not avoid sock candy at our house when it was in the house because we just didn't have enough space. So just things had to be everywhere. So I think that was definitely a struggle, but I also think it was necessary because I think when you're an entrepreneur and you're starting a business, that is a sacrifice, right? Like, I always prioritize growing the business and making sure we're profitable. Like, those were the two biggest things. And for me, if that meant I had to keep it in the house, if I had to have my husband help me, to
Mhm.
so that we could be profitable from essentially year one, that's what I was going to do. Because I'm trying to build an actual company here. And obviously, if you're not profitable, then what the hell are you doing? That's just always been sort of my approach to business. So I just did what I had to do. I think there was sacrifice, but luckily my husband has always really, really believed in the company.
Oh.
And now, we're at the point where he's no longer on the business. He's not on the business at all. Once we moved out of our house, I have three full-time female employees. It's great, and we don't welcome my husband because it ruins the dynamic. And we've got an all-female team, and it's awesome.
That's so
And
cute.
now,
Yeah.
um definitely our life is a lot more balanced now that it's out of the house and my husband's no longer on the business. But I think that I see marriage as a very, very long road. And there are times where you have to kind of go through things. And, it was a time when I really needed him and he stepped up. And now the business is more stable. And now we're able to, sort of go back and enjoy the marriage a little bit more and, prioritize each other. But I think that as long as you guys both have the same goal and believe in each other, I feel like
Yeah. Well,
that's yeah.
find the right partner.
Yeah.
Find a
Yes. I
very
think that's
supportive
I think
partner. That's the
I think
key.
that is the key. Yeah, definitely.
So what do you see yours? Well, I would say, because this pretty much, as entrepreneur, our company pretty much is like our baby, right? So where
Exactly.
did you
Yeah.
see 5 years from now? What would be how you see the company gonna go in 5 years?
Oh man. I mean, ideally for us in 5 years, we would love to be in a large retailer. Ideally, we would love to be in all Targets nationwide. That has always been the sort of ultimate pinnacle goal. That's
Mm.
that's what we've struggled with, is landing that large retailer. We have a very strong direct to consumer presence. We have a lot of amazing, brick and mortar independent boutiques, but landing that large in-store retailer, a nationwide one, has always been the struggle. And in 5 years, I obviously would really like to, basically have a nationwide presence and have, a nationwide awareness.
We
um
will. We will.
yeah,
We
yeah,
will.
and
I
then
would see it.
yeah, hopefully, and then obviously, just continue to expand our collections, our offerings. um yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was the goal for the company, but I also wanted to inspire other women, and because the show is all about empower the women, whether they are
Hmm.
founder, entrepreneur, or amazing mom, right? Because we
Yeah.
all would choose different things we wanted to do, and we all amazing in our own way. But so I always end my podcast with this question for all my guests: is that if you can go back, or if you can give advice to the 5-year-old with you, what advice would you give that little girl? Because I think that little girl is all the way in us, right? It's
Yeah,
still
yeah, yeah, yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah. Honestly, I would tell 5-year-old me that you don't have to. I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe this is like not the best advice, but I mean, like, I would personally tell 5-year-old me that not everything your parents say is what you should do, which is bad, because when you're
High
5, you
five.
probably, like, that seems bad, because when you're 5, you probably should listen to your parents. But the idea being, like, my parents growing up told me, you can't work in fashion, you can only do XYZ, you have to have a baby
Yeah.
by this time. Like, all these expectations start from your parents, right? Like,
Right.
what your life looks like, what your life that your parents want your life to look like,
Oh, I
builds
see you,
first
Mary.
when
I
you're
see you,
growing
Mary.
up, right? Like, when you're
Yes.
growing up, that's your first knowledge on, oh, what is my life supposed to look like? You get it from your
Yeah.
parents. And so, yeah, that's probably what I would say. Maybe not the best advice, because you probably should listen to your parents when you're 5, because you don't know anything when you're 5. So,
But
but
the
yeah, because
point what you're saying is, right? It's like follow your dream. You don't need
yeah,
to
like,
live.
not everything your parents say is maybe
Yeah.
the right thing for you specifically. Like,
Right.
they are obviously saying it from a good place. They love you and it's what they believe your life should be, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that is actually what's best for you. And it took me a long time to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm glad, well, your parents gonna kill me.
No, I mean, they've seen it all, like, between Shark Tank and all the yeah, they know now. Yeah, they're
I'm
okay.
like, I'm glad that you didn't listen, because look, now we have really fun, girly, cute socks where women can express their creativity. Oh, talk about that. Do you ever think about sock candy? You're gonna make it for men, or is this with the women?
So I think that, so we have some of our styles in extended sizing.
Okay.
where basically it could like because we get some women that have larger feet and they want the socks as well. So
Yeah.
coincidentally, our extended size actually fits um men as well because it's a
Oh.
very large size. So we do have actually some male customers. I don't think that it's ever gonna be like on purpose.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we would make it a business goal to be like, okay, we're gonna have a collection just for men, just because we do really specialize in the sheer socks. We've
Mhm.
done cotton socks in the past and they just sold so much slower because we're
Yeah.
the only ones doing sheer socks, right? And so I think just the fact that they're sheer, I just think for men it's just not going to be it's not
Yeah,
going to be
yeah,
a
yeah.
home run. Yeah.
I mean, you're right. I like the fact that your socks material is like the sheer is sexy, it's pretty, it's
Exactly.
not like a
Exactly. Yeah.
typical
Yeah.
cotton cotton socks, right?
Exactly.
White,
Yeah.
gray, black. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we would have to like it would have to be a separate brand if that was
Go.
to be the case. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mary. It was so fun talking to you. And then I like this conversation, like we got so many tips, so many advice for people who want to start their own business, and don't know where to start or if they should because they're scared.
Mhm.
And then also just women to women, what
Yeah.
advice you would give another women, which I love that. And I see you because we both have,
Probably
traditional Chinese parents.
yeah.
And you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
I
yeah.
kind of chuckle
Yeah.
when you say, yeah, they're expecting you to go business school, lawyer, doctor. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much that's what it is. So you are
Mhm.
very brave, and I love to share your story to hopefully to inspire others. So thank you,
Yeah, thank
Mary.
you.